What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel. And I am back with yet another album review, and we are kicking off the weekend of March 7th with another big one, talking about the latest offering from German thrash legends, Destruction. Birth to Malice, or Birth of Malice, I should say. This comes out on March 7th on Napalm Records, and well, I've reviewed the last couple of Destruction albums that we've gotten here lately, and yeah, the band's been on a bit of a roll for a while now, and I figured, of course, new album, gotta check it out, right? Because it's thrash, and I love thrash, hence the name. Now, how does this one stack up in comparison to Diabolical? Well, after really a needless title track intro that I don't know why they incorporated the Hell's Kitchen sound effects into that song. I really didn't understand that. But we get into the true opening track, their self-titled song, Destruction. Starts off right away with like huge chug and groove before it just goes Mach 10 into machine gun thrash riffs and just full of energy, full of impact, and full of balls. Absolute balls. But what I really liked about this track is that while it's thrashy, there's lots of chugs going on the guitars, which gives it that like extra crunch and that extra rough attack to it. And of course, probably the chorus on this track was one of the best choruses on the whole album. It's very anthemic, it's very rebellious, like we are destruction, like almost like the song Whiplash by Metallica, where it's like, you are Metallica and we are Metallica kind of thing. It's like, hey, you are destruction, we are destruction. And then as far as like what you get for the most part on this album, while you do get plenty of thrash, I gotta admit there's a good amount of like punk-laden energy. Of course, I mean, that's Destruction to a T, but you also get a lot of groove and lots of different types of songs throughout the album. As far as like any major differences, I would say the track Scumbag Human Race. This one, for the most part, goes for like a lot of like gallops and chug riffs, like chugging riffs, but it is more aggressive, but the riffs are thicker. And there's lots of like legato melodies on the guitars. Like there's a lot of great legato play on the guitars going on with this one. Like legato moments show up, so like there's a riff in Cyber Warfare where it does get into that like really cool legato on the melodies. And then of course Scumbag Human Race. Also legatos pop up in Chains of Sorrow towards the end of the album. It's like there's just a lot of like cool melodic flair going on with the guitars. As far as like other tracks that have some different elements going on, I would say the song Angst, apart from a couple of sections where it gets into like classic metal D beats and classic metal riffs, for the most part, it was a pretty doomy song. Like it was slower, it had more chunky, like slow, doomy riffs, which is something I'm not used to hearing from Destruction. When it comes to Destruction, you expect like punk-laden, furious thrash that just goes right for the jugular in terms of like speed and aggression. With this song, is probably one of their more different songs, especially of their current era, where again it just gets a little bit more doom laden and a lot slower, but still big heavy riffs galore. And then Dealer of Death, this song in particular really kind of goes for more of like a melodic slash punk-laden thrash style, kind of like Death Angel, I would say, for the most part. And then Chains of Sorrow, like you get chugs and that legato attack that reminds me a lot of Testament to a degree. But as far as like everything else you get on the album, tracks like No Kings, No Masters, God of Gore, let's see, Greed, like those songs in particular definitely go for more of like the straight up thrash attack all throughout for the most part. Cyber Warfare goes for a little more of like speed metal. Like there's more speed metal D beat stomps and also some cool like tremolo riffs and gallops. And then you get into songs like Evil Never Sleeps, where it's just pretty much for the most part nothing but groove until you get towards the end where the speed does pick up on the bridge. And actually, the groove on the bridge of Scumbag Human Race in particular stood out as one of the best grooves on the entire album. Now, as far as another aspect that really shines on this album is the solos, the lead guitar attack. Like, pretty much almost every single song, phenomenal leads or like harmonies, twin lead attack. Even though occasionally some of the leads, especially early on the album, like I would say Cyber Warfare, did get a tiny bit sloppy, but it does get course corrected as the album progresses. The leads just get better and better and better as the album goes on. And I love the lead work. In fact, I would say the lead work was the big shining star on this album. Vocally, Schmear is just going all guns blazing with his vocals. Like some cool falsetto comes in. It's just frantic. Like Schmear's showing off some frantic vocals, even showing some bass skills. Like there's a bass line in God of Gore that's pretty cool. And then I forgot the closer is a really cool cover of Accept's Fast as a Shark, which it's pretty appropriate. One German band covering another German band. It just makes all the sense in the world, and it made the song sound a little bit snottier, which is really, really cool. As far as any complaints that I would have, I don't have that many. I will say I could have lived without the needless intro. I would have just cut that out of the album. I will say perhaps, like, of course, early on the leads weren't the greatest, but as I said, after about the third song, they get better and better and better as we go along. But the real big issues that I had with this album, as far as the song goes, God of Gore. It's melodic thrash riffage, but it also does kind of remind me of Exodus. There's a moment where the groove, it's very dance-friendly, and I hate to say it, it reminded me of the theme song of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm thinking, what in the world is going on here? I mean, there's a cool bass line on top. Thankfully, they get out of that fairly quickly, and then get back into like normal thrash with like twin leads and shred. But yeah, it just kind of was a big what the fuck moment for me. But the biggest problem, I will say, is the production on the drums. Like the snare sounds really thin. I'm not a big fan of the snare tone on here. If the snare tone was much bigger and punchier, it would have put this album over the top. So I am actually going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5. Despite those complaints, musically this album is awesome. It's Destruction doing Destruction very well and still showing, again, to a lot of the new school, this is how it's done. So if you are a fan of Destruction, chances are you're going to get this. But of course, these are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But until next time, thank you for watching, keep your horns high, and your dreams wet.